right. Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of Age Like Wine, where we talk about older forms of art such as movies, TV shows, video games, you name it. Or we see if they've aged well or not. But like people's taste in wine, just because you might like it doesn't mean that we like it. We're your hosts,
Matthew.
Peter.
William.
In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Avatar The Last Airbender, Book 2 Earth, or Season 2. Today we have a special guest, my friend Ivy. Why don't you introduce yourself and say why you're here with us today?
Hi, I'm Ivy. Like Peter said, I'm his friend, unpaid. And
You're not
Gotta
supposed to
point
mention
that out.
You're not supposed to mention that.
Wait,
not
what?
cheap. We're not cheap. We
Oh,
pay all our guests.
We pay all of our guests with the right amount of compensation.
With
yes.
good times and
just enough for me to not starve during this time.
precisely.
I guess I'm here because I didn't necessarily group with the show, like kind of group with the show, but not exactly. So, I guess I consider myself a fan of Avatar. I know enough of the story to say that I'm a fan. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you. So,
Do you want me to expose you? Because we were talking about it earlier.
whoa, let's not. We can talk about
Please
Whoa.
expose him.
The show was
please.
created by Michael Dante DiMartino, Brian Konietzko, and head writer Aaron Eas. And of course, if you didn't watch last episode, Avatar: The Last Airbender follows the adventures of Aang, the last Airbender, who is the Avatar, and he's traveling with his companions Sokka, Katara, and Appa. And this season, we get joined by Toph, and he tries to master all four elements to bring balance back to the world after a 100-year war caused by the Fire Nation. In season 2, we are following Aang as he tries to find a new earthbending master and his adventures in Ba Sing Se. And yeah,
Nice.
Excellent. And I just want to say this is still coming from me. This was my first time watching the show, so a lot of my opinions are fresh. These guys have all seen it before and probably know more than me, and I will get called out if I'm wrong, as I often am. However, we're going to get started with this by talking about what's different in this season. And what's different is the first season really, at least for me, the first season really set up the group as like this really solidified mass with you got Sokka and Katara and Aang. And what changed this season was they put a lot more emphasis into other characters. The group's still there, but there are a lot more characters involved. And I want to talk about if those changes were brought well, like taken well by you guys, or whether you think they're like kind of forced in. I want to start personally by saying episode 1, it introduces Azula, and I think she's super badass. I love her character. I think she's a great addition. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
Willie, why did you go first?
Yeah, go for it, William.
Can we repeat the question? Sorry, I was Googling something.
I'm just curious what you think about about Azula, about any of the new characters.
let me just look real quick who she voices again, just because I. Okay, so Mandy from Great Adventures of
Yeah,
Billy and Mandy. I think
Wait,
she's
what?
she's a great.
Yeah, she
voices
you didn't know?
And she voices some of Scooby-Doo with Daphne sometimes.
Daphne,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Vicky from
Catwoman.
Family Odd Parents.
I didn't know about that one.
Oh, what the heck?
Really?
I always thought her
What?
voice is very familiar, but if you listen hard enough, like if you see Vicky's face,
Huh.
That's
Yeah.
really
She's
interesting.
also Kimiko Toho Miko from Shaolin Showdown. What else is she from? Catwoman in the Arkham series.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a great voice
Wow,
actress.
she's
honestly.
an amazing voice actor.
That's crazy.
She really sells Azula, I feel like, as this really like menacing character. So I think she does like a phenomenal job.
I agree.
That's my only
totally
take.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I think she's a great addition. I thought she was
yeah.
really, really cool to put in the first episode.
I don't.
Yeah.
William, that wasn't the question. I hope you realized that.
Oh yeah, what was the? Can we? Huh?
You go for it, Peter.
Okay. Well, the question was, do we like the changes that were done from the first season to the second season, essentially? I
Absolutely.
will start by saying that I think the second season is so much better than the first season. Like I think the second season is
Wow.
actually the best season because I actually ended up binging season 3 too last night. So honestly, season 1 I ripped it apart because I said that the progression wasn't there and nothing really much happened. But then in season 2, like everything happens, like every episode. So let me be honest, like the progression for the plot and the characters, you get so much character development in season 2 as well. And then all this shit happens. I mean, Aang even dies at the end.
All right. Okay.
Like
Just spoil
there's
that.
just so much things that
Literally the
happen.
last episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I mean, honestly, like I think this is the best season. Um, it was also an emotional season. It also showed a lot of like I think like prejudice and racism towards like the Fire Nation. Give us insight into like the Earth Kingdom and seeing that like not every other nation besides the Fire Nation is like a good nation, quote unquote. You know?
That's true. Yeah, it's not black and white.
Yeah. So that's what I really liked about this season personally. I like the character development the most because I like characters a lot. So
I'm glad you pointed out the whole thing about how it's showing that the other kingdoms aren't like perfect kingdoms. Like just because the Fire Nation is doing this bad stuff doesn't mean that there aren't things going wrong in other kingdoms. They kind of try to show that there's like issues in other kingdoms in season 1 with like the Great Divide and stuff, but it doesn't hit as hard as season 2 does. Season 2 like there's some tough stuff going on in other kingdoms that needs to be dealt with before they go anywhere near fighting the Fire Nation. And I thought that was super sick. And yeah. Yeah. Any thoughts on that? Any expansion? Or we can move on.
Oh, I was gonna make more of a general like perspective on the whole season because like I think I agree with Peter with this one. Like season 1 was more of like an introductory thing. Like it's trying to make the audience also feel comfortable with like the whole world and understanding like what exactly goes on in the Avatar world. Also for Aang, because Aang also he was stuck 100 years back, so he had to also be reintroduced to the rest of the new world that he was brought back into. So yeah, this season 2 was definitely like a roller coaster of emotions for multitude of like a lot of reasons. I feel like the first few episodes of season 2 were kind of slow though, up until when they got back to Omashu and they re-met with the King Bumi, and then it got slow again up until when we got introduced to Toph. And then slow again until the library episode in the desert, and then a couple episodes later when we get to Ba Sing Se, and then after that, I feel like it was always like a intense series of emotions because it was just the end of the season. But yeah, I had a lot of things going on because they really pushed Azula's presence, like we were saying earlier, along with like Ty Lee and May, and then we also get to see like Zuko his own development going into like a different direction. We don't really know like if we watch till the end of season 2, you don't really know where Zuko's going in terms of like development wise. We just see that Iroh's pushing him to follow in his footsteps, and then we kind of see like the times when they have conflicts with Azula and Zuko, like whether or not Zuko will fall back into like the Fire Nation kind of direction. There's a lot of other things that happen, like with Appa being stolen away, and then how that impacts Aang. And then we also get to see how Aang is beginning to juggle his idea of being able to let go of things. Because I know they touch upon Aang being really stubborn about not letting go of
Katara.
What's her name? Katara. Yeah, Katara, and also Appa, especially in the Guru episode. Like the second to last episode. What else? Yeah. And then also, of course, like the whole reason why we have a separate book for the Earth is because he's learning to earthbend with Toph. But yeah. But I really think that in general, the season's really pushing Aang into dealing with more of the reality of the changing world versus how like season 1 with dealing with the like actually, I'm sorry, edit that out. That was the wrong thing to say. I meant that the season really pushes Aang into dealing with like the possibilities of things going wrong instead of like just being introduced into a new world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, that was a lot.
No,
No,
that was great. That was great.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was really well put. Really well put.
Because there were so many things happening on this season versus season 1, so I just thought, yeah.
See,
Yeah.
that's why I liked it a lot. That's a good point. A
Mhm.
lot of stuff happened, you know.
It wasn't just introducing characters anymore. Like, it wasn't just making fun and making the characters seem more appealing to the audience. It was more about where we can carve these characters into. Like, how can we make them better for the plot and for the audience. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think another step in that direction was definitely the voice acting, because I feel like in season 1 they were still getting into character, and I feel like in season 2 they did like a very phenomenal job for like everyone in the cast, pretty much, for setting their tone for their characters. Katara being that, you know, caring mother, especially in the desert episode when they're lost, she's keeping like her calm and collective, trying to lead everyone. Aang, you know, when he gets angry, I feel like the voice actor for Aang really has really mastered the voice of
Angry.
Aang. Yeah, angry when he was angry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But
You
yeah.
know, Zuko, Iroh, Azula's voice actor she definitely has like that calm and collective like demeanor, but like very like scary, methodical kind of like voice
Cold
too.
and
You know?
calculated.
As the
Yeah,
Dai
cold
would
and
agree with you. They're
No,
very
definitely. They're
So-
down with her. They're simple.
Yeah. I mean, she's only 14, yet she's like so
Is she
intimidating.
14?
yeah,
Yeah,
only
she's
14.
like she's only like 14, but she can like well, she led the entire invasion pretty much herself. So
you-
she infiltrated.
Wow. That's
I mean,
crazy.
everyone's like pretty young for some reason, and like they're
Aang's
able to
12.
like yeah, I mean they're able to like conquer and just do whatever the hell like they want
Or as a
essentially.
master waterbender at like 14 too. So I mean,
Yeah,
I
she's
do
crazy.
I do have to say that I feel like half the time this is just in general Avatar, like there are certain times where I'm like, I wish there was a filler arc talking about like how did they become masters of their element in like one season. Like, can you give me more context? Because it just doesn't sound believable. Like Katara is now a master of waterbending after like 2 episodes showing that I can move oceans now.
she
'Cause
spent a
they're,
lot. They spent a lot of time in the northern water temp or
It was
water.
main
the-
characters, main character syndrome.
Yeah, the water, the time with her teacher and then those waterbending scrolls really helped out, I guess.
Yeah, dude, that's
They
cool, man.
established she was talented at. I mean, Aang's 12 and he's a master airbender. So I mean,
That's true, but he's the Avatar.
But he's been training in
Yeah.
air for like his whole life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
With the
12
monk.
years. So
I mean, yeah, sure.
112
He's at
years
3
now.
years old.
he was the
spinning.
youngest person to ever get the tattoos. Because
Oh, I didn't know that.
Was he?
yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the youngest airbending master.
That's
Ah.
interesting. That's cool. That's cool.
I mean, he's got the Avatar, skills, capabilities, the talent. So, he's got like the capabilities for it.
It's true. I also want to mention the bending in this season also went up a notch
Oh, it's
That's
cool.
true.
by
It's really
a large
cool.
margin. That was something I also criticized in last season, but this season the bending a lot better.
Well, I
Do
think
you
it's
mean, like-
partially because like the animation, maybe like the budget.
The animation definitely improved too, but like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
I feel like that's probably.
just the way they thought of like unique ways to use bending. Like for example, when they invaded, or not invaded, when like they like earth armor, stuff like that, or
Oh,
when they were going to like the palace to talk to the king, like that whole sequence, or like there was that one part where she literally like flips all the stairs flat, and then I was just like, oh, this is so cool. So, I mean, personally,
No, I thought the bending was a lot cooler as well. I thought that their use in combat, especially, that's where they mostly use it. But yeah, it's like seeing Azula. I feel like Azula brought a new appreciation for me for firebending, because previously it had been like punch, punch, and they send out fire, and that's like kind of it. They'll punch, punch, spin, punch again. But she's kicking fire out with her feet. She's doing backflips. She's like running off walls and stuff. It's really cool. I like it a lot. And they kind of bring that up a notch later, but I thought it was super interesting too. And the new ways that they're spending, like at the time I thought it was kind of lame, but this looking back, I like the swamp thing with the use of plants and kelp to make this swamp monster. I thought that was creative. There's more creative ways that they bend later in like season 3 especially, but I think it's really cool too. And
My favorite
that's
part.
the cool part. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. I talked to you a lot.
My favorite
That
part, I
talks
think,
cool.
the bending, at least what I remember the most is when at the last episode with Zuko with the freaking fire tentacles on his arm.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
so
I think
amazing.
Katara had some
Yeah.
like water
Like,
tentacles too.
Katara.
And the flooding, like the flooding of Utara, but like the fluidity of his of all of it. I guess is also like the budget of animation stuff thing, but it was just so nice to see how beautiful the animation was with the bending. But yeah, definitely not comparable to the film adaptation because I already saw like a clip from it and I cried on the inside. Oh.
film.
It's
We don't
just
talk
that
about the
good.
film adaptation here.
The film adaptation's just that good. It made her cry. No.
On the inside, I didn't show it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw one clip from the film. I've actually like evaded like pretty much everything from the movie, but I saw it was like 5 people who were supposed to be like earthbending, just like did like this epic, I don't know, like pose or something, and then like this really slow rock like moves across the screen.
It was a tiny rock.
Yeah.
5 people.
Yeah, and then Aang like water bends, and then he's like doing this whole dance, and then like 2 droplets come out.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
Really
Jeez.
bad.
Yeah. Just a little tidbit. That's for like not our age. That's the Avatar that's remembered. Like my parents, when I brought up Avatar and talking about, I'm like, hey, we're going to do the podcast on Avatar: The Last Airbender. They're like, oh, the movie? I'm like, the one with the blue people? And they're like, no, the one where they're moving stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's a movie. that is a movie. A show. And they're like, oh, there's a show? Like, yeah. So I'm sorry to say, but your cartoon that you love so much has been tainted forever in the public mind.
M. Night Shyamalan,
M.
Night
Night
Shyamalan
Shyamalan.
drama. Yeah,
piece of shit.
Oh,
it's not very
dude.
nice.
He ain't holding back. Dude, we're never
Movie's-
going to get him on the show now.
Yeah, we
I mean,
can't
he
get him
didn't
on this show.
understand why critics and fans were hating on his movie. Like I was watching an interview, and it's just man's delusional, man. I don't know.
Delusional. I wouldn't go that far.
No, he's delusional.
He's lost his mind.
The movie was bad, but I wouldn't say he was delusional.
No, he's just like the guy who directed like Dragon Ball Evolution, man. They're just completely
Actually,
disconnected from
that's
the
a really
story.
good comparison. Actually,
Yeah.
maybe
They
he
have
was
a
delusional.
gang.
I don't know. I mean,
Right.
okay, whatever.
I want to bring us back to the show
Oh,
a
thank
little
you.
bit.
Thank
We
you.
all kind of agree that the movie's not good. Don't watch it. Watch the show. But what I want to bring us back on is something I noticed this season that season 1 definitely didn't have. Season 1 was mostly just episodes like they'd ride somewhere on Appa, they'd stop there, they'd do some shenanigans, whatever. This season, I'm so glad they changed that because it got a bit monotonous. Like they're going through caves, Appa goes missing. Like there's so many ways they get around, and that like adds to suspense a little bit because half the time in season 1 it's like if something really goes wrong, it's like just get on Appa, fly away, it's chill. But instead they make it so that there's actually a little tension, especially in the desert. I thought the desert was like a super cool area for that to like come into play. And that was something I really appreciated about the season. I don't know what y'all think about it, but I thought it was cool that like they had to go through the swamp without Appa. There were a lot of episodes where they were looking for Appa, couldn't find him, all that stuff. What do y'all think? If that makes any sense.
Peter,
Yeah,
what do you
William.
think?
Yeah, William, what do you think?
No, wait. Ivy, what do you think?
I just was gonna say that it just makes it more exciting and thrilling to not have a safety net because I feel like Appa was always their safety net. And it's like if anything went wrong, you know, Appa's there. He'll like use his tail, and everyone will just like away. But now we don't have Appa anymore because he got kidnapped, or bison napped. But
Air bison map.
Bison napped.
flying bison napped. No, I just agree that it's very thrilling without that safety net and just not knowing what the next, or it's not predictable of what's gonna happen in the next episode. So, yeah, I agree.
Any thoughts, Peter?
I wasn't actually a big fan of that. I mean, I will say when Appa went missing, I was really, I wouldn't say impressed because I think the show is just impressive in general, but it was pretty cool to see how they connected like every little dot of the story essentially when they went to Ba Sing Se, and especially when Appa first went missing, and how like everything came like story wise like came all together. I think that was one of the most important like impressive things for the whole season is that everything in the story kind of connected. You know, like every character for the most part had like a purpose in the season. Like for example, I don't know, like the people who are trying to kidnap Toph and bring her back home. Like but a lot of characters are just relevant. You know, Sandbenders, you see them at first and you're like, okay, Sandbenders are here. This is just another way to show that Earthbenders can sandbend. And then you're like, wait, they stole Appa? What the heck? Why are the Kyoshi Warriors here? Oh wait, the Kyoshi Warriors are relevant for later. So it's just like everything's connected, like the guru says, you know.
Also,
My favorite
we forgot to mention metal bending was invented this season. Like,
Oh,
it's so
true.
True,
important.
yeah.
We didn't
It's so
even know.
important for Legend of Korra. Like, that's amazing. Okay, but that scene where she just breaks, she's like, metal is earth. And then she just, I'm like, oh, my girl. Yes.
See, my question is, you know, Boomer Boomy, he like
Boomer
Boomer
Boomy.
booming.
Boomer
That's
Boomy,
actually spot
How
on.
dare you?
he can earthbend with like his eyebrow. So it's like I don't know who's a more impressive earthbender. I mean Toph can probably do that too,
It's
right?
gotta be Toph. Can we
I
talk
mean, come
more
on.
about Toph? You know?
Boomy's got 100 years on her, so
It's
I
true
don't know,
actually.
man. I mean, Toph's. She literally, like, if the situation like arose, you know, she like literally metal bended because that one guy was like, not even you can metal bend, and she's like, well, you know what? Watch me. I'll do it. I'll
Watch
create a new style of bending, and she's blind, so I mean, like, she just like exceeds like everyone's expectations essentially. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Going back to bending a bit, this happens a few times this season where the benders will like make a full suit out of like rocks or metal or whatever. I love that so much. It's like Iron Man or whatever. They're charging with the rocks or whatever. I think it's so cool. And I think Toph does it a few times. I think that like it's such a good addition. Like it comes back to what you were saying earlier, Peter, about the bending in general. Definitely a step up this season. And I really enjoyed it. And that's like the coolest part of the show for me. Character arcs are cool too, but I like watching stuff move because I have an 8 brain. But yeah. I do want to talk more about Toph though, because she's such a big, important part of the show. I didn't really know it when I first came in. Like I thought she was going to be kind of a side character. I didn't realize that she joined the gang. No one ever made that clear to me. But I really am glad that she did. I think it's really interesting that she's blind. It's really interesting how good she is at earthbending. And I kind of like this story about her running away from home. It's not my favorite part of the series or anything, but I think it's interesting. It adds like another element. Haha.
Element.
I know. I'm on a roll today. I know.
Asshole.
Do my best here, man. But yeah, what are y'all thoughts on Toph? I really liked her.
It's like I find it amazing. I know this wasn't like their initial concept with Toph, but the fact that they made a blind girl, right? And they had her be like an earthbending master because the concept of earthbending is feeling the earth, right? And then because of that, she's so like intertwined with the earth and understands like how it works that she could see through the earth, and then that's her way of earthbending. It's just like an amazing way to like not only convey the element of earthbending, but also make the character like really unique and great, and not like handicap her in a lot of ways that we think like she would be handicapped because she can't like see, you know.
I agree. On the point of your handicap, it feels like with Toph, her blindness, she uses it really well, but they also like stay consistent with it. It's it's very clear when she can't do something. Like if she's walking on ice, she's like, I can't feel everything. Like it's not the same as walking on actual solid ground. And they maintain that for the rest of the season. As far as I remember, there's not really like a plot hole where it's like, oh, she was actually like on really soft grass, so she can't actually feel the ground. There's nothing like that. It's really good about the show was really good about keeping her, oh gosh, I'm sorry, but grounded in the
Hey, you are on
reality.
a roll.
I know
Oh my
that
God.
wasn't even on purpose. I kind of just
You,
I see William
you know,
getting
Ivy
nuts
loves
and
cheesy puns, so it's like
I-
perfect.
I'm here to serve, but yeah, I really like that part. Like it feels it's very refreshing versus like some like superheroes and that sort of thing where they might break their own rules just to do something cool. They never have to break their rules for her to do something cool. That's what I'm saying. But yes, I'm ready to hand the mic off to somebody else.
I was gonna talk about Toph as one of my favorite characters of like at least season 2, but also in general, she's also one of my favorite characters. Um, but she's just a badass overall. Like this is also because like you were saying earlier with Peter, like her character embodies what being an Earthbender is, but not just her character, but also her personality. Like she's just very stubborn
That's true.
and very grouchy,
A rock.
which is great. Like a rock. She's tough as she is tough.
That was
Wow.
excellent. I'm
Yeah,
proud.
you know what? You guys are both on a roll.
We are
Okay.
nailing it this episode.
But yeah, I really love Toph, and she kind of reminds me of myself at times because as Peter knows that my parents are very overprotective of me at times, and so that whole introductory episode of her, with her parents saying like, "Oh, we have to like not let her do too much. Like she can't do it because she's blind." And she's like incapable of doing so much. But you see Toph is just completely the opposite. She's like willing to do a lot of things. She's happy about it. She loves just touching the earth with her feet and seeing everything with her foot, like her 2 feet. So it's like really nice to know that she feels a certain way and wanted to break free and was able to break free and also be able to break free for the rest of her life. I don't want to spoil, but yes. She's very free for the rest of her life. I love her. Yes. But yeah, and yeah, that's all I have to say about Toph.
William, do you have anything to say? If not, we can move
I
on.
mean, to be okay, well, I'm gonna be honest. I know like she was brought on because she's like part of like the teenage cast of being pretty young, and like obviously Aang needs like an earthbending teacher, but I feel like the Boulder would have been a great addition to the gang as well.
I agree.
Just because
now we know who's delusional.
But then you would have had 2
Gotta be
comedic reliefs
delusional.
then. You would have had
What?
2
I feel
comedic
like-
reliefs then.
I feel like Peter would be able to play the Boulder very well. I feel
Why me?
Really?
Peter
Wait,
is
what?
that big in real life.
Wait,
For
why
our
me?
listeners
Wait, can
at
you
home.
explain?
Yeah, Peter's. You guys actually don't know this, audience of age like wine, but Peter's actually very enthusiastic about working out. He actually has a very similar build to the Boulder.
Yeah, I'm a 6'3", 215-pound, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson looking monster right
It's
now.
true.
Exactly,
He eats like
exactly.
12,000 calories a day. It's really
Peter was actually
impressive.
part of the WWE a couple years back as well. I mean, he's
Wait,
got
Ivy,
all
can
that
you explain
experience.
why I would be a good boulder?
But yeah, go ahead, Ivy. What do you think?
I can see you referencing and talking to yourself to other people
Oh,
in
okay.
third
So
person.
true.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
true.
Like I can definitely see it and hear it like very clearly.
The Peter is displeased. What do you think, the
Okay,
Peter?
moving on. So on the topic of
Wow, okay.
characters, let's talk about who everyone's favorite characters were this season.
The
Yeah.
Boulder?
The
Boulder.
Is that
The
your
Boulder?
answer, Willie?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, they even got a WWE actor to play the voice act as the Boulder. I mean, come on. He's great. He's great in like every scene he's in.
You know,
I respect that.
in the live action Avatar that they're making, honestly, they have to cast Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for the Boulder, right? Like, He was even
That
based
would
off.
be
He was even based
fantastic.
off of Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Like,
Yeah, and have John Cena play like the season 3, like the parody play or whatever.
yeah. Oh
Like,
my god, that'd be
yeah.
actually
Tall.
perfect.
Oh
Dude, they should
my
hire us
goodness.
for these scripts. Like, honestly.
We're here. Reach out to us, please.
I mean, John Cena was in that Scooby Doo movie. I mean, honestly,
That's
John Cena
true.
would be able to. I think he would accept the role. I don't think he would know what the hell
He's
Avatar is.
never
But
turned down a role. John
that's
Cena's
yeah,
in everything. Same
like
with Dwayne.
Mark Wahlberg and Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah,
in
they're
the
both.
skyscraper.
They get around. They get around, but all right. Back on the topic of favorite characters, I actually have 3 written down.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind. Let me a little
Just keep it
story.
down to one.
Little story time. I'm gonna say 3. Okay.
Okay,
He's
fine.
going on script.
I'll
Okay.
just edit it out. Don't worry.
You're gonna edit it out. Fair enough. So my first character that I liked a lot was Azula. I talked about her earlier. I definitely am a fan of Azula. I like how intense she is, and also how self-aware of how bad she is. She's like, I don't care. Like I am all that, and I don't care. Like I think it's sick, and she's a really good fold for Zuko. Like really good to give him more motivation. Like I could be like her, and that would suck a lot. So I'm not going to do that. My second person is not a person. It's the Dai Li. I really like their rock hands. That's about it. But I think they're cool. And then last is Bosco the bear. He's adorable. That's all.
I'm pretty sure he's named after Dante Bosco, which is the voice actor for Zuko, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
pretty
really?
sure.
That would make a lot of sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why he's my favorite.
That up.
That's cool.
It's
Though.
kind of weird that he's a bear though, because like the original voice actor for Iroh Mako, which is what the Tales of Boxing Say episode dedicated to, actually gets a full-fledged character in Legend of Korra. But I guess for Dante Bosco, he gets a bear.
It's a cute
I
bear
don't know.
though.
It is a cute bear, but I mean,
I love the joke they do where it's like, is it a rhinoceros bear? Is it a hippo bear? Is it
no, it's just a bear.
it's
Just a bear. Just a bear.
What's a bear?
What's a bear? Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Or platypus bear.
I noticed in the series they kind of take like regular animals and they just kind of put like a turtle shell on the animal,
It's
like
amazing.
the ducks. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
Like lion
basically
turtles.
Pokemon.
It
Pretty
reminded
much,
me
yeah.
of turtle doves. I don't know, the term turtle
Ooh.
doves always like confused me. I was like, is it a turtle and a dove? But then I looked at this, like the episode where they appeared in, and I was like, oh, this makes sense.
This is real life. All right, but I said all my favorite characters. Your turn, Peter.
Oh, my turn. Okay.
Yeah, your turn, bud.
I think so. For me, the whole season, I actually did not enjoy that much of Team Avatar's adventures. If I'm being honest, besides when Aang, besides certain moments, but I would say the highlights for this season were definitely Iroh and Zuko's adventures, and so I'm gonna say both of them are my favorite characters, especially Zuko, just because so much character development. I love character development. I'll just say it now. I love me some character, so.
He does.
I love me some characters. So Iroh Zuko, lots of character development. You can see Iroh be like very wise, give Zuko advice, trying to lead him the right way. But Zuko's a very conflicted character, so it's not as black and white as you would think it is. So I just think they were definitely the highlight for me. So what about you, Ivy?
Oh, I mentioned Toph earlier, but I don't know. I just kind of mentioned characters I like overall, but just because this season was really good, so it's like this happened to be like my favorite characters of the entire show. But you already know, you kind of have a feeling that I'm gonna say Zuko because he's like the guy that every girl who loves the show loves the show. Not just because of how he looks like, and the scar and how cool he looks or how evil he looks. It's fine. That's not the thing.
Honest, he fugly season 1 with that ponytail.
You're
But
right.
shit, but with that
Ponytail's a
haircut
problem.
though,
Scary.
Yeah, what that hairdo though, it's
The
like
haircut is damn.
Yeah, but when he
it's pretty
cut
hot.
in the first episode of season 2, when he cut off his the knot thing, he was gonna grow that out and he was gonna look amazing. He was gonna look like a K-pop star.
pop star.
For like a terrible scar on his like right side of his face. But yeah,
People
I mean,
would
there's that
defend
too. We can cover that with makeup, right? But yeah, I just think in this season he went through a lot of significant changes. I mean, in the end, he goes from escaping Azula's grasp and cutting the top knot, like I was saying earlier, with Iroh, and then abandoning Iroh, and then going back with Azula back to the Fire Nation. Like we see him go through literally like a roller coaster of different decisions in his mind. But there was like a lot of side episodes, I want to say, like not directly with it, like about the plot itself with Team Avatar, but more about Zuko himself when he was defending that one Earth kid,
Yeah.
and then later on, like the Earth kid realizes that he's like Prince Zuko of the Fire Nation. He's like, I don't want you anymore. Get out of my life. And you can see Zuko just like sad on the inside. I'm like, no, my emo boy, it's okay. We still love you. But yeah, he goes through a lot.
Yeah, that being said, Zuko alone, that was a great episode.
Yeah, that was a really
Amazing.
good episode.
The next
I agree.
question basically is, what was everyone's favorite episode of the season? You can name like 2 or 3 if you want, because honestly, there's a lot of stellar episodes for this season. So
I
William,
agree.
why don't you start us off, bro?
I don't remember the exact episode name, but you know the episode they introduced Toph and the Boulder was definitely like one of my top favorite episodes, mostly because the Peter.
The Peter.
Yeah, the Peter. Is
Peter.
this pleased?
Is this pleased with your choice of episode?
The Peter will
I mean-
crush you between his thighs.
I really liked the last episode of the season because of the Iroh's like little fire trick thing that he did, where he was introducing why he's the dragon of the.
I was
the
gonna say,
West.
why wasn't that your favorite episode? Because William is
I mean,
actually the
that's
dragon
the-
of the West here, so
Dragon of the
Southwest.
It's all
Dragon of
true.
the
Dragon
Midwest.
of the Southwest.
Dragon of the Southwest here.
But besides that episode, obviously Tales of Ba Sing Se, Iroh's episode was just tear jerking. I mean, I think the episode's focus on Appa was honestly like some of the best writing they did, just because there wasn't much dialogue, since it was focused on Appa, and it's just really tear jerking and everything about that. I don't know, it was really good. But those were definitely like the highlights, just because also like I don't know if I mentioned it, but Iroh is obviously I think my favorite character of the season besides Zuko, just because they kept him like really consistent with what was established, but also they kind of like I guess delved like into like why he is kind of like the peace loving uncle you see as you find out his son died from I think what was it during like the attack on Ba Sing Se that he failed at? Was that where his son died? Yeah. Just like seeing that and you just kind of understand it's just like damn, Iroh is like really trying to make up for, I guess, his past and trying to lead Zuko into the right path, as opposed to with his son, where he kind of encouraged him to be a part of the war, be really proud of the Fire Nation. But obviously, his son died from that. But Iroh as a character is just obviously just like one of the best written characters I think of fiction. But yeah, all those episodes were like my favorite. Yeah, I mean, hey, every line he has is quotable.
That's true.
And his tea antics, I just love it every time. Especially like when I think one of the weirdest episodes was like I know when Zuko was going through that whole internal conflict, how like on board Zuko was like once he like recovers from his sickness. I thought that was kind of weird, but also kind of shows like later on that he really does have this inner conflict between. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's like two sides to him. That's also related to his like ancestry that I really liked that they fleshed out like a lot more in this season compared to the previous season. But yeah, those are like definitely my favorites. Anybody else? What are you guys' favorite episodes? Perfect segues, by the way.
I can go. Yeah, we're smooth as butter. So for me, I got to give it to. There's 2 episodes that really stood out to me. Well, first of all, some honorable mentions. Zuko alone was great. I really like Zuko as a character. I talked about that in the last episode. But my favorite 2 episodes had to be Appa's Lost Days. I love and hate that episode because I'm a sensitive boy and it made me feel feels. And that's not what I come to cartoons for. But I really like that episode. I'm really glad that Appa was okay. my other episode had to be the chase. I really liked the you kind of start to see how mechanized the Fire Nation is. I think that's kind of cool. That comes into play a lot more later, but I think that's interesting that they have this technological advancement on them. And I also really like the fight that they have. Where is it? It's at the like Wild West town, kind of the abandoned town. They have the
Yeah,
final standout. I thought that was a really cool fight. And you get to see Azula. You get to see her two henchmen, and I really like them. I think they're super cool as well.
Maya and
And,
Ty Lee, right?
yeah,
I'm a big fan of May.
Yeah, May and Ty Lee.
Oh yeah, sorry, May.
Yeah, you got May's
I,
hair.
I'm gonna mention I'm gonna mention just one thing as
How
a
dare
just a
you.
little bit of a criticism. The use of CGI in this show is definitely, I don't think that has aged like wine. Like it's
That
very
is
jarring
fair.
to see
Yeah.
it every time. I don't know. Like everything else of the show, like I think the animation's just great, but just when you see those like obviously like CGI moments, especially with like the Fire Nation like tanks or whatever, it's just kind of very jarring to see, you know.
Yeah,
But
it's
I mean
very out of place.
that's literally the only criticism I can have for the show, honestly.
I think that's fair. But yeah, those are my two episodes. I really like The Chase, really like Tapa's Lost Days. Tales of Ba Sing Se are great as well. And yeah, I'm going to hand this off to Peter.
Oh, okay. Well, my favorite episodes. I'll just keep it to
The
one.
Peter.
It's either the library or the guru for me. And the connection is, well, I just like knowledge, you know. So I think the guru is probably my favorite episode. I really like learning about a lot of meditation stuff, like chakras and stuff like that. So I just thought that was very interesting. I've always liked that episode. I'm a big philosophical guy too, so just seeing that episode was very interesting to me. I know it wasn't the most action packed. It was more just talking, thinking, getting through gates. You know, seeing like what he has to let go and stuff like that. I really like that episode a lot. That was definitely my favorite. So our final episode list is from our guest here. Da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun.
I actually agree with everything you said, Peter. That's my favorite episode. The
Oh
guru
baby,
episode.
look at
Is it
that.
because we're both psych majors? Is this why?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's because we both like and study the same thing that we end up liking the guru episode that they talk about. I mean, in general, like talking about the mind but it really gave us kind of like a reflection back on what Aang has experienced as a character in the past few episodes of the season, at least. Like we saw him meditating and also recalling past critical moments in the show, and there's a lot of emphasis, like I was saying earlier, with his love for Katara, but it also shows you how far this character has come. And I don't know. In other words, it's just like this. This is a very deep episode that had my full attention versus other episodes where I could just look at my phone for a couple of minutes and then go back. I'm listening, but this episode really like made me like not only read the subtitle, like English subtitles, but just like focus on what the guru was telling Aang, like as if he was also talking to me as the audience. So yeah, it wasn't just like a filler episode. It was more about discovering Aang within himself, but also kind of like a mindfulness episode for the audience also to reflect on their own selves. Yeah. But other episodes that I really liked was you guys mentioned it before, the Tales of Ba Sing Se and the library. I really love the library a lot because they mentioned the library in Legend of Korra again and the owl. But I have to mention the City of Walls and Tears, which is the episode where they just got to Ba Sing Se, got nominated for an Emmy. And I didn't know that until I looked at the episode list. Yeah. And yeah, but they didn't win it, but they got nominated for it. So it was a really good episode, nonetheless. Yeah.
I just want to say I really like what y'all said about the Guru episode. I think it's really fitting that it was like at the end of the season, heading into the season finale, because it's like clear that Aang needs this heading into it. Like he has all this time to meditate, and he has to make a really big choice heading into what turns out to be like kind of the driving force for season 3. in what's happening with Azula, what's happening with the Earth King, all that, with the uprising going on, and that choice has consequences for like that episode and then the rest of the season. And I think that's a good place that they just like let you breathe for a second. And it's like just think about all Aang has to do, all he has on him, all these choices he has to make, and back into battle. Good luck. I think it's well placed. The whole series, honestly, season 1, season 2, season 3 is all really well paced and well put together. Nothing feels like it should be swapped around, in my opinion. But I thought that was cool. Also, in the Guru episode, the most satisfying thing in this whole show happened where he opened up that pond. That was like the greatest thing ever. It's a very small part, but I love it.
I thought you were gonna
Uh,
say the fact that they were drinking like onion banana soup.
Oh, onion banana soup.
It was like,
Is there a binging with Babish for that or something?
That sounds like something Peter would make, by the way.
does it?
It does.
It does.
Honestly,
Does it?
guys,
I don't even like onions.
No, Peter would tell us about how like healthy it is and be like, dude, you gotta try it
pasta
My
first.
salmon pasta is
probably
Italian.
tastes like banana onion
His
soup.
chicken is very dry, by the way. Everyone should know that.
Ooh.
You're a
Peter, I
hater,
gotta
yo.
teach you how to sous vide. We got
Yeah,
this,
sorry.
buddy.
Guys are just haters on my Avatar-like recipes.
The Avatar would eat it, I'm sure.
Actually, he can't eat meat, so he wouldn't eat. my
Oh,
stuff.
true. Oh, sorry, man.
Okay, do you have like a vegan version of your recipes, Peter?
I definitely don't, because I only eat meat. So
Oh, okay. Well,
unless he just wants to eat
shit.
my vegetables, then maybe that's the solution.
We'll come back to that one for sure. But yes.
Next thing, okay, yeah. So next thing, favorite moment. Everyone's favorite moment for this season.
Oh, that's a tough question, dude.
It's really hard, actually.
That's a
I'll-
really tough question.
I'll give you guys time to think, so I'll say like mine.
Go for it.
Mine too. I had two because I couldn't really pick between them. And they're very different moments, so it's like it's really weird. I think my favorite moment probably was when Aang got shot by lightning. Probably
Kind
because
of
that's
dark.
Yeah, what's
yeah, but
wrong
like
with
that's
you?
like I mean
So the main character
my favorite
died.
moment for season 1 was that Zhao killed the freaking like spirits.
Oh, that's true. You are a
So
bit
I would
dark.
like because when he got shot by lightning, you're just like, wait a second, like did that just happen? Like because when you think about it, right, you're always like, okay, the hero's just gonna power up, no one's gonna touch him or her, and then Aang's just rising up, and then all of a sudden he just gets shot, and you're just like, wait a second, I guess they just didn't let him do that. So
Instead of
there
just
was
staring at him the whole time while he's
yeah,
like powering,
exactly.
he actually did something.
Yeah.
Mid
So there's
transformation.
that, and then there's also the moment like Zuko's date. I think those are my two favorite moments.
Jin.
Because I don't know, maybe because I'm lonely during quarantine, but it was a very
Did you see
wholesome
the
moment.
K drama edit?
I did not see the K drama edit.
There was someone who edited the scene where he lit up all the the flames in like the plaza or whatever, but with like the K drama music and the effects, and I could not.
I need to watch that. That sounds pretty funny.
But
Can
like
you
just
link it?
adding on to that scene, how did she not realize that he was a firebender? Like after 5 seconds, she closes her eyes and then everything's lit up. Like come on, like it's not
Maybe he
obvious.
just got like maybe he lit something up real quick and he just started running around. You never know.
I mean, to us it looked really fast, but maybe it took him like a good minute or something.
Wait,
Maybe he took his
1,
time.
2,
Yeah, maybe it took a
3.
while. You never know.
He's got the Deluminator from Harry Potter. Just bada boom.
Yeah, sorry, I don't get that reference.
It's okay.
I forget.
We'll get to
She's
that
also
part.
like a refugee, right? Like just like him at that
Yeah,
time. Or
because
was
she's
she-
in like the lower levels, right?
Okay, so I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like not too many people know about Zuko, even though he's supposed to be like the son of the Fire Lord. Like he's
but
got like
the thing is, bossing say.
yeah,
So
but like
it's
she's
very-
a refugee though, so
That's true.
She's,
But I
she's
mean,
not like brainwashed like the rest of the civilians.
I mean, like you can't expect everyone to know everything
No,
about the
I
Fire Nation.
agree. Yeah, like I wouldn't know that probably. I'd be like, who's that guy? The
There are
scar does
people.
make it a bit more difficult, though.
Yeah, there are people in the Fire
Yeah.
Nation that don't recognize Azula in the 3rd season. So I mean,
Oh, true. That's a good point.
So I mean, like even in the Fire Nation, they don't recognize them because people are just
Well,
living
sure,
out
but
their lives, right?
those are like secluded teenagers though on like the Ember Island.
I mean,
I
that's
forget. I
true,
forget the names. Like Chan
but
and Juan.
I mean, like it's not that surprising. It's a big world.
Also, like, if you just look historically, like, for example, Imperial China, no one knew how the emperor looked like other through paintings. Even not a lot of people saw the emperor's paintings. So definitely, it makes sense that the people don't know exactly how like the prince or like the fire lord would look like. It's
Yeah,
just
there we go.
like
That's
there's no
a good
internet
point.
or social media, whereas like there's IG, you'll know who this person is.
I mean, they also had like the wanted posters for them though, right? Like
Yeah,
were
but
they?
you know,
Oh, yeah.
everyone could have a scar on their face. You know?
That's true. I mean, honestly, with like what the Fire Nation was like during those times, they could just be like, yeah, he was victimized by the Fire Nation as well.
Yeah, sad to say it, but like a lot of people they meet have scars from the Fire Nation. So
Yeah, yeah.
True.
Like that one girl that he stole
yeah,
like that bird
right for
right from
yeah the
the
chocobo.
Korean
The chocobo.
Yeah, the
dress
chocobo.
that she
Yeah.
was wearing. The chocobo.
Not wrong. What a nerdy reference.
Sorry.
I don't let it happen again.
So favorite moments.
But
Anyone else?
yeah, favorite moments. I think I'm ready. So I didn't really talk about the library episode, but I know that you both liked it a lot, Ivy and Peter. But I really like the scene where Sokka is in the planetary calendar room and he kind of starts figuring things out and piecing things together because it was one that like we're finally getting a chance to like figure out how we beat them. This is our chance. The Fire Nation won't be able to do anything. That whole thing. And then two, I just love that bit of like characterization where Sokka's like, dude, I can finally do something. This is my thing. Everybody else is bending and stuff. He talks about that a bit more later, but like it isn't something that's really brought up. Like he's the one non-bender, so he feels a bit left out. It's like I'm with like these people who can move elements. Like it's kind of unfair, but I'm doing my thing. I was smart enough to figure out that this is how we beat the Fire Nation. I
Yeah,
really
he's like
like.
the Hawkeye of the team.
Yeah, he is like Hawkeye, but it's like if
Yeah.
Hawkeye's like, I know how to get the gauntlet off. Let's go. Please. Please listen to me. Please. I really liked it. I thought that was a cool scene. But yes.
I will say the library also had a reference to my boy Zhao. So
Oh jeez. It did.
yeah, it's another
It
reason I
did
like that
show
episode so
up.
much. So
You
I
know
mean,
he's the bad guy, right?
so like it's okay. Yeah, no, actually, I was gonna bring this up. So the thing I mentioned earlier, how like the whole world isn't as black and white as it seems. You know, they're bad Earth benders. You know, Dai Li, for example, and trying to keep that whole conspiracy, take control of the Earth Kingdom, like not have the king do anything. I just found it really interesting because Wang Xitong, the librarian for the library, was like when they said like we just want to save people that we love, and then Wang Xitong was like, I've heard that before. Like everyone says that, like knowledge is power. Like, can you guys just stop using my knowledge to like f over each other, like please? So like you realize it's not as black and white as it seems, and like even though like you think the protagonist and like the group is doing like the right thing, which in their eyes they are. So like Washington is kind of just like, you know what, everyone thinks they're doing the right thing, so I can't really trust you. So I just thought that
Yeah,
was really
that was a really good point he made. Just because like a bunch of other people have come in just kind of like end their own wars or whatever, and like Wang Shitong is kind of like, I'm sick of everyone's shit. Everyone's just stealing stuff from my library. So just like this will be the end of it. But yeah,
I really like the professor. Like the professor was just there just for knowledge. He was my boy. So
Spoiler alert. They actually make a reference to the professor in Legend of Korra. Because I was curious enough after watching that episode. I was like, what happened to him? Did he actually live his entire life there? And yeah, he actually there was like a scene in Legend of Korra where you can see his skeleton like next to a pile of books and his hat. It was
sorry,
it
man.
was really
or
cool.
you were supposed to spoil
Sorry,
that for
man.
Matt.
No, that's okay.
I mean,
No,
That's-
he lives. He lives
He
for the
lives.
rest.
He lives. He's
yeah,
actually a
Yeah.
fox now. He's a
Yeah,
librarian.
he actually
He
becomes
is
Wang Shitong.
Korra.
He's
You
actually
see the
part of
owl
Wang
again,
Xitong
and then
too.
the owl turns around. It's the professor's face
Ko
on
the
the
face
owl's
sealer
body.
is like the same thing, except the back of like Wang Xitong's head is the professor now. So
These all sound like great options. We need to send this in for the live action
For
show.
live action, yeah.
We got this. But that's a good point. I didn't think about that where it's like everybody's coming in. Like it'd be interesting to see the show from like the Fire Nation side. It's like we're just trying to help. Like we're just trying to spread the Fire Nation goodness to the whole world.
This sounds like imperialism. Can I just say that?
Not wrong.
So, William Ivy, favorite moments? It's okay if you guys don't have any.
I could go.
Yes, please.
Mine's also in the library. It's the scene. But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't. It's like not exactly a favorite memory because it was a nice moment in the season where Toph is trying to decide whether or not to save Appa or save the building from sinking into the sand. But like it's like prior to that, we see like Toph just got introduced. Yes, I was distracted by Toph just got introduced for a couple I think like 5 episodes before was when we just saw Toph. But it was nice to see that she was finally opening up and being more comfortable with the team and with Appa and actually expressing her true emotions. Like we can see her actually fighting her emotions when the rest of the team catch up with her and like ask her like where Appa went, and she's like very disappointed in herself for not being able to save like Appa, who she just started like talking to. Like when they all left to go into the library, she was having that combo with Appa. Was like, hey, like you like this? It's like really awkward, but to see that she's so emotional about someone that she's just started to get to know is just really nice. So yeah, it was just nice to see a different side of Toph than what we usually see.
All right, for my favorite moment, besides the Tales of Bossing save of Iroh, and like you see that the entire little short episode he's preparing to have like a I guess like an in memory of his son, which is very like tear jerking. My favorite moment was honestly when Aang was trying to like search for Appa and just kind of seeing him like let go of his kind of like peaceful air nomad nature. I thought that was really great. I know it's like very sad. Like I felt his pain essentially, but just like seeing him kind of like I don't know, like really like unleash his like frustration since like Appa is really the last thing he has from the 100 years that he was like away. It was very emotional. It really got to me, and I guess just like the little subtle things that obviously he was like yelling at everyone, and he was like really like aggressive towards the Sandbenders, but like when Momo was about to get like taken away by like that hornet vulture thing, I don't even know what that creature looks like, but like when you see Aang just like throw his air bending at it and just kind of like either like cut it in half or something or like critically injure it, I was just like, damn, I really feel it. Like I really feel like his pain through his actions, and it's more of like the voice actor does like a phenomenal job, just kind of like selling that. Like I felt like at that moment is like when I really felt when like the voice actor really like got the character at that moment, and for me that was like my favorite moment from that like entire I guess season. Besides, I mean, there were like other moments where like I guess like Zuko is kind of like inner conflict that I really enjoyed since it really showed like the duality of his character. But for me, like seeing Aang go from like the peaceful guy who's always trying to like bring balance between whatever situation he has, like showing that emotion to him, making like rather than just making him seem like that one-dimensional. Oh, hey, I'm the Avatar. I'm trying to I'm trying to be like the peacekeeper. I really love that. But yeah, that was my favorite moment. And on to the next segment of our podcast, which is
If you could change one thing about the season, what would you change? Nobody has anything.
That's a no. I think I do.
Okay. Tell us.
Okay. I So I thought that the Avatar Day episode was kind of lame. I like Kyoto.
wow.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I take it back.
What if
No,
it was
but
about
kinda-
Roku? Would you have liked that?
What was? No, I like Kiyoshi. I
Back to
like
this
Kiyoshi
again,
a
aren't
lot.
we?
I like
Your
Kiyoshi a
eternal
lot.
hate for Roku.
Also, yeah, Peter's hate for Roku knows no bounds, and I'm
Yeah,
sick
just
of
'cause-
it.
Roku, top 5 worst avatars. I'm
Roku
saying it.
did his best. He didn't.
There is like 5
He learned-
avatars we know
he
of in
learned
the
what he
entire
could.
show.
He didn't go with the flow. He did what
Yeah.
he could.
I'm just saying, there's no difference between Avatar Roku and Go with the Flow. I'm
All
just
right,
saying.
shut the hell up. We're saving that for next
We'll bring
week's
that
episode.
on next week's episode.
So like
Your
no hot
trash
takes for
opinions.
this episode.
But yeah, Avatar Day.
That was a good season.
I thought that was kind of a lame episode. I thought it was cool how I did think it was interesting that they brought in like Aang's history isn't just like his history. It's like other people have history with the Avatar too. So there you go. But I thought it was just kind of goofy. It gave serious season 1 vibes compared to the rest of season 2. That's not a huge insult and it's not a huge thing I'd change, but it's just something I noticed. Probably the least rewatchable episode for me personally. But yeah, do y'all have anything you'd change?
I have one thing that I would. Oh wait, whoops! Did I? Wait, Ivy, do you have something? Okay, I'll go. I thought Zuko getting captured at the very end by Azula was like stupid because he literally like Iroh and him were about to escape, and then Zuko's like, "Don't worry, I got this. Where I'm gonna face her." And then he literally like challenges Azula to an Agni Kai, which she replies no, and then he immediately gets captured because he thought that maybe she would accept it. I just thought that was stupid on Zuko's part because like with his whole like interchange that he was doing, I felt that maybe he could have been smarter about that. But that was also kind of, I guess, going back to why like Iroh was calling him out before. Like I forget which episode, but when he calls out Iroh, or when Iroh calls out Zuko for not really thinking about what he wants to do or like his plan. I mean, that was consistent with that. But I just thought, please put in Zuko.
Please, Zuko.
What do you want?
Are we gonna keep the bison in our apartment?
Should I make a cup of tea for him? But yeah, I don't know. I thought Zuko was being kind of a dumbass there because he knows his sister, and like
He was feeling good that
I don't know.
day.
Yeah, he was.
mean,
he was really feeling himself for sure. He was very confident.
But it's just like he got caught, and she has like full control to Dai Li. Like, what did he expect was going to happen?
See, I think this is probably like going way into it, but maybe he was at a conflict at that point, right? And then he finally got met with like his past demons. So he's like, if I get rid of Azula here now, all my past demons will be gone.
If I kill my sister right here now, I'll get rid of my past
But
demons.
that's probably looking too deep into it.
No,
Yeah,
That's one thing that I don't like actually about what they do with Zuko's character is that like you see he's a very competent firebender and skilled like individual. Like he can use the dual wield scimitars like really well. He's like a good firebender. He can best Admiral Zhao. He can fight Aang and Team Avatar pretty on equal footing for the most part, right? So it's just really weird to see that there are certain moments where he just like does nothing and he looks stupid. Like for example, the first episode of the season where Azula like tries to like take them back as prisoners and he tries to fight Azula, like he's just getting schooled, It's just like they just make him to look not very competent at certain points, and I just don't like that.
I mean, I don't think besting Admiral Zhao is a very high bar.
How dare you?
True.
To be honest, I don't know.
But also, you don't understand that he's also fighting Azula. He's scared of Azula. I'm pretty sure it's not just about capability, but also like the mentalness of like I'm fighting my sister, a person who has traumatized me multiple times in my childhood. Like I don't think it would be really hard to be your best self in front of that person, especially when you're not over that trauma yet. So
that's true.
Also, he's also not trying to kill her. Like she's trying to kill him, but he's not trying to kill her because he's trying to, he's at a conflict. I mean, he doesn't really kill anybody. I mean, he says he wants to, but he doesn't. But I mean, his sister. I mean, she's crazy. So
you never think they take through, Prince Zuko. You had the Avatar and what? You would have died.
Peter, you should be the live action Iroh when they do that for Netflix.
Yeah, I
Oh,
definitely
I
can't do
agree.
that voice.
Going back to the episode with Kiyoshi, Kiyoshi is voiced by the voice actor who does the voice for Zatanna in Justice League, and Justice League.
Oh, what the heck?
If anyone
Oh
knows.
shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Which one? Like the Justice League TV show from like 2003 with like
Yeah.
the really
Which I
bulky
love.
dudes, and then like the
Yes.
okay.
the
classic.
Dorito shit.
Dorito Chads.
Dorito Chads.
But yeah, but Kiyoshi, I don't have much that I want to change, but I do agree that episode was just a reflection of what season 1 was like. But Kiyoshi is a badass, so I just feel like they wanted an episode to put her in. Because I don't think they mention her anywhere else, like other than like when they talk about the Avatar, like when he's getting advice from the past lives. So, but I'm glad that she shone for like 2 minutes or something.
That was enough, honestly.
Apparently, they like had a book. I forget. I think it's like The Birth of Kyoshi or something that's like really, really good. That people are like really hoping to like they're gonna adapt into like a new series or something, and like actually like, shows like why Kyoshi is more about like killing people compared to other avatars. But I just wanted to. This doesn't fit with anything we've been saying, but apparently the live action Princess Yue from the last Airbender movie was the voice actress for Asami in Legend of Korra, which I did not know about until today.
Oh, what the heck? Wait, that's
Yeah,
cool.
that's kind of weird, right? Like
that's pretty cool. I
she's
like
a great.
that.
Yeah. Maybe they'll bring them back for the Netflix show. I don't know. Maybe in like the season 3 play. But I don't know.
Yeah, you're really hyping up the season 3 play with like all these people.
No, it's I think that might be. Oh shit, that might be a spoiler to say it's my favorite episode, but whatever.
We'll talk about that next episode for sure.
Okay.
We will dive deep into that one. So that's a good one.
Are we still on the question of what we would change for this season? I'm kind of.
Yeah, I don't really have anything I would change. I mean, everyone pretty much answered for the most part. So
dope.
So anything
All right.
people want to say before we end off the episode today?
Good show.
Fuck sandbenders.
Ira's voice actor, the first one died. I think when I think episode. I don't know which episode exactly, but somewhere in between when season 2 was airing.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys talk about that already?
We didn't, but I knew about that actually.
Okay.
We didn't mention it though.
Yeah, he died at some point. And
Aku?
Yeah, because they mentioned it in I think the
Samurai.
Tales of Bossing City. Yeah.
They said in memory of Mako.
Yeah. And then I think they named Mako from Legend of Korra after him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
They named
Cool trivia
Dante
stuff.
Bosco. They got a bear, and then they got a main character in Legend Korra for Ira's voice actor.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for repeating what
I'm
I said.
reiterating what you said, okay?
Yeah, you're reiterating.
Guys,
Our
I hate
podcast
it when
viewers
you
are
fight.
idiots. All right,
Please.
you gotta give them more respect, just like Avatar did. Instead of doing a stupid recap at the beginning of each episode, you know, they
You want to know who says previously on Avatar: The Last Airbender?
the previous Avatar. Yeah, I can't know that fact.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking Roku who says it. Your
Yeah.
favorite Avatar of all time.
He's a good Avatar. Shut up.
You're a hater.
Avatar Roku's on the same level as freaking Go with the Avatar.
He is not Karuk.
He is 100% on the same level as Go with the
Avatar Roku's better than Karuk. He's better than Wan. All right.
Yeah, everyone's better than Wan, dude. That's like a huge spoiler, though.
No one's better than Kiyoshi. Kiyoshi's bomb.
I think Kyoshi's on the same
Kyoshi's
level,
great.
too.
How dare you? How dare you?
I just you know, whatever.
Did you
I think
even
your favorite
read?
character.
Spiciest
Every
take.
what?
Did you read the book? Did you like at least read the summary of the book? Like,
Have you read the book? I know she's like, isn't she lesbian?
yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
why she's so powerful.
And she's tall. Like she's like 7 feet. Like
I know she's really tall
basketball.
too. Yeah.
She also
No,
lived
but,
for
like-
like what 400 years or some shit.
I heard that's because like
That's
the writers
crazy.
like messed up with the timeline, and then you were like, yeah, let's make her like the longest living human in the series.
Oh really? What the heck?
Yeah, I heard. But I'm not
That's
sure how
funny.
accurate it is.
What's his face is also pretty old too. The guru, like, cause he said he was a friend of Monkey Out. So
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit! Like, dude, these characters just. I mean, it makes sense kind of just because everyone has like superpowers. So maybe
Bumi's
you know,
112. So I mean,
oh, the guru, like, I forget his name. Pathik.
Pachi. I don't remember his name either.
He's
but, hey,
150 according to the wiki.
Oh, he's
coincidentally.
150. Well, that guru was
Yeah.
that guru was in very good shape for 150.
He takes care of himself for
Yeah,
Hey,
sure.
yeah.
that banana onion soup, man. It's got
Maybe I should
really
be on that,
essential,
honestly.
You should get on
organic,
it, yeah, for sure.
non-GMO.
Can you
Yeah.
make it before the next episode and tell us what it tastes like?
I could literally make it, and I'll bring it to both of y'all's houses. We'll try
Oh,
it together.
Dude, you should drink it. You should drink it with Sprite too.
Banana Sprite
That's
challenge.
so gross.
Okay.
No.
So back on topic. So
Uh-huh.
let's end the episode with our ratings for this season.
I'll go last.
Go last. Okay, who
Yeah,
wants
of
to go
course.
first?
He's owning it.
I got my fire ratings.
You want to go first, Matt, or do you? I can go
I'll
first.
go. Oh yeah, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I have my 2 ratings, obviously, the number rating and the age-like rating. So, age-like rating, I would say age-like metal bending, because it's more than solid. Yeah,
This
no,
silence is on purpose, by
Cringe!
the way. For everybody
Okay.
listening, this silence is very, very like real.
Okay, and my number rating, I give it a 9 out of 10. The only reason I take off that 1 is because I didn't really like the Team Avatar segments, but I think that's just because I was more interested in the Zuko Iroh segments. Not to say that Avatar segments are bad, so that's the reason why. So, who wants to
Very
go
nice.
next?
I can go next. I'm happy to do so. I'm going to give this season of Avatar a 9 out of 10 as well. Because I
original.
liked it. Huh?
How original?
How original? I'm not here for originality. But yeah, I got to give it a 9 out of 10 because like there are some slower parts. There are some parts that I wasn't a huge fan of. But overall, it is better than. It's a lot of fun. Really worth the watch. And yeah, it's really, there's nothing more I can say that hasn't already been said about this season. So just glad we got that out there. But yeah, Ivy, what do you think you'd rate this as?
I gave it an 8.5, but in my opinions don't really differ from the 2 of your opinions so far. It's just I guess I just feel like the slower parts were slower than you guys thought it was. I don't know. There were some times when I just couldn't pay attention to what was going on. Again, it just felt like another filler episode. But even in this season, especially sometimes, because it was just again like I was saying earlier, it's the roller coaster. Sometimes it was like really high and exciting, and then other times it was like, okay, we get it. Can we move on? Like, I need more like plot, like moving on with the plot, please. So, I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. That's why I gave it an 8.5. But yeah, I don't disagree with the 9 though. But I would give it an 8.5.
Respect it.
And last but not least, my rating out of 100.
All right, guys. Thank
I
you
would-
guys for tuning in. For
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
been a lot of fun.
out of 100, I would say my rating is 93.14159265358979328462643383279
Are we pie right now?
out of 100.
So that's an A, not an A minus.
That is an A.
Well, no, it
Yeah.
depends on the teacher. It depends on the teacher.
Stop this.
I'll curve it up to a 94.
Wow.
So
You're so
What's an A+?
generous.
A plus.
no A
That's
plus.
A plus
there's
don't
no A
exist in
plus.
our school, so I don't even know.
No paper can be perfect, so I mean I can't give you a 100. But honestly, I love the
Art.
season, and I don't know if we
Always.
said this before, but I'd say anyone who's listening, you should watch Avatar. Like this series is like timeless.
Definitely.
It's good. It's really good.
That's coming from somebody who's been watching it since it came out and somebody who just now watched it. Like,
Yeah.
definitely watch it. It's well worth the watch. I hope you're not turned off by the fact that it's like a Nickelodeon cartoon. It's not for kids.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah,
show.
I realized that like when it came out, I think 2006, right? So I was like 7 at the time, and I had friends who were watching it. So I just feel like at that time, if you watched it at that age, you wouldn't really understand the deeper
For sure.
meanings behind a lot of what they were talking about, especially with Iroh. Like, come on, no one's gonna
Yeah,
what he's saying at
For
the
sure.
time.
You
take it very
just kind of
literally.
think he's the tea loving uncle, but no, he spits that wisdom.
The hot leaf juice.
Dragon in the-
yeah,
he's the dragon in the
so-
West, baby.
So I guess like teens. It's appropriate for like teens to watch
For
it,
sure.
and people who are not that young. That's about it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But if you're looking for the show has everything. Just don't look at it with the intention of like ships or like romance. I don't think it does that best. And unfortunately, I think Legend of Korra kind of focused too much on that. But honestly, everything else in the show is amazing. So highly
I actually
recommend.
think the romance in the show is fine, personally.
Well, season 3 is kind of some offbeats.
I don't
Yeah,
like
anyway.
May, by the way.
Yeah, me neither. Jin is way better.
Whoever said May was appropriate for Zuko, I'm very offended. Whoever said that.
Peter?
I just said I liked
The
May.
Peter?
I never said
Okay,
she was
alright,
the best
Peter.
fit for Zuko. I actually. Okay,
Excuse you.
If you want to know, I think the best fit for Zuko is actually Katara.
Oh, that's the tea
But-
right
Why?
there.
Just because they both got mommy issues, man?
And
I
they
mean, that's
both
a
lived
big
around the
reason.
same time. Oh no.
I feel like they have a lot of parallels. So I actually thought they were a good couple together, but obviously it was, season 3.
The scene with the healing, like if she was gonna give the healing thing to him, and also Aang like cock
Yeah.
blocked, like it
There was
was
some
amazing.
tension there for sure.
Yeah.
Could technically they have went back to the Northern Water Tribe to heal Zuko's eye? Because it was
Yeah,
from
but,
like the
that's
spirit
like-
water, right? But
I'm sure he's just
They don't
like,
bring back.
that's my
That's-
that's my mark.
That's his
Actually,
brand, yeah.
there is this
brand
question,
recognition.
Peter. I would like to ask you: do you think Aang really died at the end of season 2? Because there was still oxygen in his brain, right?
Okay, so for context about this, I said that Aang died. Like, this is like an outside discussion. I said Aang died from Azula, and then I think William was like, "Did Aang really die?" So we looked it up, and there was like this Reddit post about it. And if William could say what the Reddit post was,
There was like a top comment where it's like, I think there was still oxygen like flowing in his brain at the time of his death, so he wasn't technically dead or something.
and there was
But
another
then,
one where
someone
like,
yeah.
there's like a reply saying like,
Well, Aang said he was like gone until Katara healed him with spirit water, and then somebody replied, "It's like, do you think a 12-year-old would make an accurate medical assessment of his current state or some bullshit like that?"
if you really want to know, the wiki literally just says Aang died during that.
Yeah, no, he died. He should
And
have died.
yeah,
when he got
it's
healed by spirit
proven
water.
that the spirit water or the spirit water from the Northern Water Tribe can actually heal death or bring you back to life. That's what happened to Princess Yue. That's why she turned into the moon in season 1.
Yeah, that's why she got white hair, and it's just. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
me and
canon.
Peter, we have these stupid ass discussions for Avatar, but when people bring science into it, and like this Reddit thread, we realize we're not actually as delusional as some people are when they're talking about the show's theories and stuff like that. But yeah,
That's rough, buddy.
should I? It's rough.
It's rough.
That's rough, buddy.
And for next week's episode, we will be viewing the conclusion to the Avatar saga, the Book of Fire, Season 3 of Avatar, where Aang will finally confront the Fire Lord and try to fulfill his duties and bring balance back to the world. Else, all of the gang's adventure will have been for nothing. See you next week on Age Like Wine. Thank you, Ivy, for joining us today.
When did you write that up?
10
That's
minutes.
impressive.
10 minutes before we started.
So
Excellent.
next episode is actually the final episode of season 1. So
Yep.
It is, yeah, that's a big deal. We're doing a bit of a change in format. Definitely going to be more like this episode than it has been in other episodes. But we'll talk about that more probably next episode.
Maybe
And
we'll have face cam for the next episode, the finale. Who fucking
Maybe
knows?
so.
I
I don't
don't
know about
know.
that one.
we
I mean, for
legitimately don't know what we're doing.
We got a YouTube channel now. I don't know if you guys know
Check
this.
out our
We
YouTube
got a-
channel, H Like Wine on YouTube. Check out our Twitter, ALW_podcast.
All our
Please
socials.
send us messages or something on either platform.
Please
yeah.
like our everything, please.
No, but for
I see
real,
who listens to our podcast, so please.
that's
Please check us out. I checked our YouTube stats and we only had 4 unique viewers, even though it says 12, 15 views, and it's probably all of us. So Please.
We take what we get. But seriously, thank you all for listening. Really appreciate it. Make sure you reach out to us on Twitter if you'd like to, if that interests you. Like we said, we've got the new YouTube channel. We'll have a link to that on our Twitter. And yeah, thanks again, Ivy, for joining us.
Thank
And-
you.
And I think that's it.